Hello there! Thanks for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and boy, I'll tell you, by many accounts, if not most accounts, the best and the most exciting big band of the 1930s, 1940s swing era was Jimmie Lunceford and his orchestra. That's right. Boy, I'll tell you, he's not quite a household name, but boy, he sure was popular at the time, no doubt about it. I mean, he had 10 top 10 hits in Billboard magazine from 35 to 45, obviously leading up to World War II and encompassing all of World War II with that chart action for Jimmie Lunceford. And boy, I'll tell you, did he have the respect of his peers too. I mean, everybody just really admired Lunceford, and he had quite a complicated, involved show with a lot of great music and other elements to it that just made it entertaining as all heck. And what's really neat, in today's video poster blog, I've got 7 examples to show you of this particular tour blank from that era. I wouldn't just pull out 7 different random Lunceford concert posters. No, they all look, they all use this template. So boy, I don't very often get up to 7, but of course I won't spend a lot of time on them. But they all range from 1939 to 45, right there in World War II. Some of them, by the way, will be represented by photograph, not all in person. So this first one here is the summer of 1939, Cumberland, Maryland, at the Crystal Ballroom. And as you can see, that information, of course, is up top there. The tour blank area, as you can see, it does say exclusive Vocalion recording artists. And that was only a brief window. Usually Lunceford and his band were on Decca Records, as you'll see in a minute. And you've got the 37-year-old, smiling Jimmie there, definitely middle age at this point, right in the middle of the poster. And just a really fun, busy, colorful tour blank, implementing blue and orange colors. I really like this. I think it's really laid out nicely with all those musical notes. And there's actually 6 musicians listed, as you can see on this poster, and they're inside those very musical notes. Those would include the legendary trumpeter and arranger, Cy Oliver. Now it's kind of funny that the smallest music note up there at the top of Jimmie's head just says the word rhythm in it, and that's all. See that? I don't know why. And it's also funny, the biggest musical note is down there in the lower right, as you can see, and covers business, not musicians. So anyway, great looking poster any way you look at it, and Lunceford from 39, summer of 1939, in Cumberland, Maryland. And now the fun starts. And hello, by the way, from my new location. 10 days after Cumberland, Maryland, you have this Lunceford concert poster from Western New York State, specifically Celeron Park. And a lovely red ink used up there in the venue information. I really like that. I think that's effective. However, I have blogged this poster, the real poster, in a much earlier blog that I also covered Cab Calloway and a couple of others. So, 6 months later, after this one, we have one from Hartford, Connecticut. This is still 1939. This is December of 39. And you've got the State Theater in Hartford. And what I really like, actually it's not the thing I really like about it, but it's great that the venue information is in 2 colors, right? Look at that. You've got both the black and the red, and that looks really effective. Down in the tour blank portion, with all the musicians given, Cy Oliver has now split the scene. He went off to join Tommy Dorsey, so he's out of there. But, it's hard to talk about Lunceford's backing musicians on this particular one, because just feast your eyes down in the lower right-hand corner, and what you will see is a sticker added to this poster that says, Extra, in person, Billie Holiday. Oh my God, misspelled like the male Billy, but that's okay. It's a 1930s Billie Holiday piece, and I just love this. And in order to show you the rest of the sticker, I actually blew it up a little bit further. As you can see, and below her name it says, Woo! Harlem's hottest queen of hotcha. And oh man, what I wouldn't give for this poster with Billie on it from 1939. Of course, really stealing the spotlight, of course, from Mr. Lunceford. Don't mean to do that, but it just absolutely had to be shown. Okay, so moving into 1940 now, out of the 30s, I'm going to go back to real posters, not just pictures of them. And we're going, as you can see, into the summer of 1940 here, from Salem, New Hampshire. And the thing that catches your eye with this one is, look at that across the top. Coming, coming, coming! I guess it really fills the definition of a herald in this case. But interestingly, the color portion down below is, they grabbed a sort of out-of-date tour blank for this particular one. That sometimes happens. These things were run in big quantities and put aside, and then if they ran out of the very newest one, sometimes they just grabbed the most recent before that. So what you have is Vocalion on there, although they closed, Columbia closed Vocalion in this year, 1940. And you also have Cy Oliver's name having snuck back into that oval musical note, even though, as we saw with the last poster, he had split the scene and was playing with Dorsey. So from the summer of 1940, let's jump a year ahead, moving right along here to the summer of 1941. But this will surprise you, if not shock you, a totally different Jimmie Lunceford tour blank from the summer of 1941. Take a look at that. How unusual is that? This is such a, completely different type and unusual kind of concert poster that it really, just really is fun to check out and look over. It's a collage, as you can see, of just jazz and big band musicians. I don't know if they were all Luncfords, but I count at least 25 faces, including those two fellows shaking hands there. And kind of a profile, it's hard to tell, but perhaps Mr. Lunceford is the one in the light suit. He's the largest figure on the poster, but boy, it's just really unusual. Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's a attention getter, but that's just highly, highly unusual. Now, the manager's name has been moved on this poster up above the Jimmie. That's kind of interesting. And down in the lower right, next to orchestra, you have Decca Records inside an actual 78 RPM record depiction. So that's pretty fun. Okay, so from the summer of 41, let's jump ahead 4 years this time to the summer of 1945, and Mr. Lunceford and his management has reverted back to the standard tour blank they were using before, even though that is, of course, an updated picture of Mr. Lunceford there smiling away. But on this one, besides the updated face shot, you've got no record label listed at all. And just a trio is given. The other musical notes, with my finger included, are sort of empty white ovals now. And the manager has been moved back down, as far as I'm concerned, where he belongs, in the big white oval down at the bottom. So some changes. Interestingly, this is the only one, I'll get it closer, of the posters, all the ones I'm showing you, all 7, the only one to have the printer's credit down there, Woolover Press in Los Angeles. And this particular gig, as you can see, took place at McElroy's Ballroom in Portland, Oregon. Now, notice the date. Are you a history buff? Look at that. August 13th, 1945. Well, World War II ended the very next day. That's right. VJ Day, in which the Japanese surrendered, was August 14th, 1945. So, you know something, technically, this is still a World War II concert poster. And that's what I'm going to call it. But from lighthearted to sad, unfortunately, Mr. Lunceford did die less than 2 years after this show, at the age of 45. So interestingly, one thing that all 6 of these posters have that I've shown you, maybe the only constant, is they show a picture of either Mr. Lunceford or, of course, the collage, which is photographic. So, this was the era of the 40s of pictures and photographs being used and everything. Even the earliest one I showed you from summer of 1939, right? That had a picture of Mr. Lunceford. So, but preceding these 7 posters in the late 30s, there was at least one tour blank that was used with an artistic depiction or a painting of Mr. Lunceford. I've got to scramble here to get it out for you. I wouldn't tease you without showing you an example. And I am going to now show you that example, not in real poster, but in picture form. Now look at that. Now this is February of 1939. So, summer of 39 photo, February of 39, and probably 38 and 37 and 36 had this artistic rendition of Jimmie's face. Looks pretty cool, and it looks older. If you really like old stuff, old-looking renditions, this could float your boat more than the picture ones. Interestingly, you can also see across the top there in orange, below the white portion that is, it does bill him as the new king of syncopation. Let me get over. And what a surprise encore I've discovered. Look at this, 1934, 3 months before he even charted his first record. Take a look at that artistic rendering of the young Jimmie Lunceford, just amazing. Across the top of this poster in orange, you can see there, direct from the Cotton Club in New York City. And then it does say Casino Hall in Carbondale, although I don't know if that's Pennsylvania or Illinois. Admission just 75 cents, tax included. Look at those white musical notes. No backing musicians. How about air system and cool and comfy? Is that wild? And the bottom musical note has business, NBC Network, and Victor recording artists. So, boy, this poster made a liar out of me. 8 to show you today instead of 7. Thanks a lot for watching, and have a good day.